Wholeness and Abundance family. This is Shamanist Mizah'ni from WholeLyfe Healing as well as Soulful Vegan. Just here today just to share just a little information about carbohydrates. So when I'm working with clients, typically I find that if clients are dealing with some type of, health issue, they're saying that they want to eliminate carbs from their diet. And I can't say that's not something that I recommend because carbohydrates are a primary source of fuel for the body. So if we're not consuming carbohydrates, then it's going to be very difficult for us to feel alert. It's going to be very difficult for us to feel energized. It's going to be very difficult for us to feel prepared for our day if we're not consuming that fuel that our body needs to break down and output as much needed energy. So what's the difference in the different types of carbohydrates? Why would people say, you should, remove carbohydrates from your diet, or you shouldn't have carbohydrates from your diet? And the answer is because there's different types of carbohydrates. There's carbohydrates that can be found in things like white rice, white bread, white sugar, white pasta, things like that, that are going to, number one, they're going to raise your blood sugar level, which is going to, again, it's going to increase that sugar, but then it's also going to give you that crash. And then if we consume too much of these things in our diet, they're going to mess with our cortisol levels, which means your ability to burn fat. So instead of burning fat, you're going to begin to store fat, and not just store fat, but you're going to begin to store fat in that target area where most of us really want to kind of lose that fat. So when we talk about eliminating carbohydrates, those are the types of carbohydrates that you would want to eliminate or really minimize. So again, we're talking about white sugar, white bread, white rice, white potatoes, pretty much anything that is white. It has been stripped of its fiber. It's been stripped of a lot of its nutrients. And so it just leaves you with just the sugar, which can be an overload for our body. So if we're saying that it's a good thing to consume carbohydrates, let's talk about what type of carbohydrates you should be consuming. And it's always my recommendation that you consume high fiber carbohydrates. These are going to be things like wild rice. Even brown rice has a higher has more fiber than things like white rice. Sweet potatoes have more fiber than regular potatoes. You want to try, you can try brown rice pasta or quinoa pasta, or quinoa itself. I have an example of some of my favorite high fiber foods. I have chia seeds, which I like to sprinkle over my salads. I enjoy throwing in my smoothies. You can use chia seeds as an egg replacement if you're vegan. They're very, very versatile. So this is one of my favorite seeds that's rich in fiber. This one has 29% fiber. And the type of fiber that chia seeds contain, it's called soluble fiber. And soluble fiber are the types of fibers that contribute to us being able to have a nice, healthy gut. They contribute to the waste being eliminated from our intestine or digestive tract. So this is a very, very good example of soluble fiber, and it's one that I highly recommend. Fiber is going to help you stay full longer. Again, it's plant energy. It's going to help you to stay energized. Fiber helps to support healthy brain function, and it also helps to support the nervous system as well as the cardiovascular system. Another type of fiber is insoluble fiber. So these are the types of fibers that don't break down as easily when they come in contact with some type of liquid or some type of fluid. It could be in our digestive tract, or it could be the liquid or the fluid that the food was prepared with. So these are the things that still come out, or they kind of bulk up. And the chia seeds are the things that become more loose. So the soluble fiber becomes more loose, and the insoluble fiber help to make your stool more firm. So one example is fonio, and fonio is one of my favorite ancient grains, and I don't think that within our community we get to really highlight it enough. So fonio, it can be it's a plant or a grass from Africa. And it can be used in soups and stews. I love to make like fonio grits with it in the morning. But this is a type of, again, fiber that's going to help us to stay full. And together, when we're consuming soluble and insoluble fiber, I like to say they both work as like a Brillo pad as well as soap. And so inside our digestive tract, they're working together to kind of cleanse out our digestive tract. And that's what's going to really help us to stay full. It's going to help us to stay, feel really light. And it's going to help us to stay energized. So when you hear individuals talk about carbohydrates and not consuming carbohydrates, just be sure and be mindful, of what type of carbohydrates. Obviously, if individuals are dealing with things like diabetes, you definitely want to consume carbohydrates that are higher in fiber, so they're not breaking down into sugar as quickly as something that has less fiber, or has low fiber. So that's just my tip for the day. If you guys have any questions, please feel free to contact me via Instagram at WholeLyfe10, or at Yakimungu Mizah'ni on Facebook. Hopefully just this general information was helpful for you. I'm always available to answer more questions, and I just hope you guys enjoyed the information. Be well.